Alright. Hey guys. I was almost gonna have a day off today, but there is a new blog that just dropped for the Ogres and Golgfag Maneater. So I thought we'd do a quick read and discuss through that. And yeah. Just got it up on screen now. I'll just chuck a link for it in chat as well. In case anyone wants to check it for themselves. Alright, cool. So, Omens of Destruction, Total War Warhammer 3, Golgfag. We're back for our second in-depth exploration of Total War Warhammer 3, Omens of Destruction. This week, the smell of battle, belching, and barbecued man flesh permeates the air as we welcome a significant reinforcement to the Ogre Kingdom's army. Golgfag Maneater, notorious mercenary captain whose renown has inspired all other Ogre mercenaries to adopt the title of Man-Eaters alongside his fearsome forces. Background music might be a bit foreground. I can turn the music down a little bit. It's coming through pretty quiet in my ears, but yeah. So that's a bit better. Where are we up to? Before we do that, in case you missed it, you can check out Introduction to Khorne's newest server, the Skulltaker. Oh, is there a video? I didn't realize there was a video. Premieres in 47 hours. got rotted. All right, Golgfag Maneater. I don't think it should be demonetized. It's just a name, but yeah. Anyway, there's a picture of him. More tales are told about Golgfag Maneater than any other ogre alive. He spins a great many of them himself. Yet there is as much truth in the legend as he is undoubtedly one of the most successful ogre mercenaries of all time, establishing their dreaded reputation as lethal hired fighters well before they became a familiar presence in forces worldwide. A weathered veteran, there are few foes in the world he hasn't faced. Having fought across continents and cultures the world over, he'll take any job, kill anyone, steal anything, as long as the price is right. And his loyalty is strictly for hire, lasting only as long as the deal does. Boisterous and larger than life, Golgfag is a top guzzler of Bugman's ale. There. At a glance, here's what Golgfag brings to the table. So his battle playstyle, his fearsome reputation isn't forged through showing mercy. It ensures that any fool who stands in his way will regret it. Proficient anti-infantry killer, he cuts through foes like sharp knife through stale old world butter. We can also call upon some deadly abilities. So Deadeye active ability, Golgfag whips out his trusty pistol, allowing him to fire a single shot that deals significant ranged and armor-piercing damage, perfect for taking out elite single entity targets. So yeah, so it's not like an execution type thing. It's just like it's just like a ranged shot, a single ranged shot that he can do like on a cooldown. Been there, done that. Passive area of hexes. Golgfag has such a damning reputation that he debuffs enemy units within his vicinity that cause terror, decreasing their melee defense, melee attack, base weapon damage, and armor piercing and melee damage. So he only debuffs things that cause terror? That seems kind of weird. Like, why do, like, what? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so there's been a few of these like anti-terror things that have been brought in with like the Slayers and the Witch Hunters and stuff like that. So he's got one of these anti-terror things, any enemy units that cause terror It decreases their melee defense, melee attack, base weapon, and armor piercing melee damage. So it's kind of interesting because like a lot of characters have the option to take terror in their skill tree or whatever. So you know, with some of these new debuffs that the witch hunters have and that Golgfag has, it's actually going to make you vulnerable. It's kind of like you know, fire damage can sometimes be bad against maybe like, you know, chaos wolves or whatever. But yeah, anyway, that's interesting. Bugman's 5x active regeneration. With an insatiable appetite for ale, Golgfag takes a breather on the battlefield and enjoys a proper strong brew, allowing him to recharge hit points when he's out of combat and gain extra vigor. Okay. Don't ogres... yeah, okay. So yeah, he's got a regeneration. He's got an out of combat regeneration. But like butchers, don't butchers and some of the other like tyrants and stuff have like in combat regeneration? So I don't know. Maybe that's as well as in combat regeneration. Like they can unlock it in their skill tree. All right. Campaign mechanic, mercenary contracts. This is separate from bounties. So we've all of the ogres have the new reworked bounty system that we've got to try out, where basically you get 3 new bounties every day. You can pick and choose if you want to keep some of them or you can abandon them and get rid of them. This is new contract mechanics thing. So every day, or you know, however often, you'll get issued new contracts, or the new contracts will become available. This is them over on the left hand side here, and you would essentially go to work for one of these guys, and then you have to attack this guy. So he works for Katerin at the moment, and his enemy is the Bearslings, and he gets this reward at the end of it. It's only a short-term contract. See, 5 days, 5 days, 6 days. So it's only like just for the next few turns. Basically, you choose one of these things, and they'll have like a relatively small target. Like, see, it's like 70 out of 220. Like, you could have like one big fire there. You can see right there, if he kills this guy, he's gonna get 221 points, and then there's like 38 points for that settlement and whatever. So like these, so yeah, it's only like a few turns, and it's a really low target. Like, you only have to basically like kill, this is turn 3, and you only have to kill like a couple of the dudes. So he starts within 3 turns of Fort Jakova. We know that. Yeah, so I don't know if that, yeah, that's all I want to say. So yeah, so you get some meat, some money, and a magic item. It looks like all of them have magic items. And yeah, you get points or whatever by doing these things: battle, occupying settlements, gifting. So yeah, you can gift a settlement back to the person who's given you the contract. So if he takes a settlement from the Bearslings, then he can actually give that settlement back to after the battle. We have a post battle option that'll let him like give it back to the Ice Court instead of keeping it for himself. But you know, you might want to just keep it for yourself and then just sell it to somebody for gold. And yeah, anyway, so yeah, this is pretty cool. Pretty interesting thing. A campaign where I can literally make it my job to simp for Katerin. Yeah, I don't, as far as I know, you can't like permanently sign on with one faction, which I kind of wish that you could do that. But I think it might be calculated on I think it might be calculated on your vicinity, or at least on factions that you know exist. So if you don't move around too much, like you'll keep getting offered contracts from like nearby factions. You know what I mean? Cash rewards could be high. Well, the cash reward is just for hitting 228. So if you go above 228, then you can get more. But yeah, the cash reward, it's basically, the cash reward is just for basically, like, that's what I was trying to say, like, it's 221 for that one fight there. Like, this whole thing is basically one big fight, is basically, we'll get it done, you know? One big fight will pretty much get it done most of the time. So it's just, you know, Ogres have pretty decent post-battle loot, I think. So, you know, you kill an army, you get like 2,000-3,000 post-battle loot. In the after battle, you get another 1,000 or 2,000, or maybe you sack the settlement that they're in, you get another few thousand, and then this is like on top of that. So yeah, the food amounts. seem pretty over the top. I don't know if that's still getting rebalanced or whatever, but you see like 800 food, 700 food and stuff. Pretty crazy. Contract cancelled. Contract cancelled. Oh yeah, so you can cancel a contract apparently. As an internationally renowned mercenary, Golgfag helps client factions throughout the Warhammer world settle their warring disputes through taking on all their wars. When a contract is signed, you must earn points by making active aggression against the enemy within a specified turn limit. I think I just like explained it all without reading. I should have just read this. After reaching his target, the contract is complete, granting a payout and rewards such as meat, Maneater banners, and culture unique items and ancillaries. So yeah, so basically you get items. Each contract will vary in rewards depending on the level of difficulty and is determined by how many enemies the client has and their cumulative strength. Determine how many enemies they have. So, okay, so that's interesting. So, yeah, I think you can have, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can have multiple. So these ones are all like in single wars. But like you could have like the Ice Court, if the Ice Court was at war with like the Bearsenlings and Azazel and Archaon had came down and Dryko had turned on her and Azag was attacking her, there could be like 5 different enemies in here. I wonder if there was like, I wonder if that would give you a much bigger, like I wonder if you can potentially get bigger ones as well. And they can slightly vary in duration and size, like the size of the target. But I don't know if they get like heaps bigger or what, but yeah. So basically the rewards and everything can be more if they've got more enemies and they're a bigger faction and stuff, I guess. Yeah, how many enemies the client has and their cumulative strength. Oh, how many enemies they have and the cumulative strength of those enemies. Okay, right. Interesting. In true mercenary style, this mechanic means that Goglfag's playstyle will be much more about sacking and raising settlements to gather meat, which will be essential for maintaining ogre camps, which we treat as the equivalent of major settlements. The end result is a campaign playstyle which sits in contrast with those of Greasus and Skrag, albeit on the same level of brutality, butchering, and belching. There you go. Brag the Gutsman, legendary hero. Pretty cool. Pretty cool looking character. Brag is a notorious loner, feared and shunned even by his own kind. His gruesome killing style, particularly his brutal use of a bladed hook to disembowel foes, horrified even the hardiest ogres, leading to his exile from every tribe he encounters. His reputation as a merciless executioner, or gutsman, spreads far and wide, with few daring to challenge him. To heighten his intimidating presence, Brag dons a dark leather hood, evoking the image of a human hangman. Constantly seeking new duels, Brag's fearsome skill and blood-soaked legend make him a dreaded and solitary figure. Brag's reputation as a prodigious killer has earned him Executioner moniker when his foreboding Executioner ability is active, granting him the ability to instantly kill enemies. Okay. Large Entity Killer. His proficiency in killing ogres gives his unit a bonus versus large entities. Or gives this unit a bonus versus large enemies. So when they say this unit, they mean this hero, I assume. Causes fear, a monster even amongst the most sadistic of his kin. Brag instills fear in his enemies. Okay, cool. Ogre Paymaster. I like this new Ogre Paymaster character as well. It's pretty characterful. Looks cool. It's got a chest on his back. In Maneater culture, where treasure and rewards are valued highly, the role of Paymaster is vital to their society. Joining his comrades in battle, the Paymaster drives them forward with promises of great riches. Known for being greedy and tight-fisted, he's a true penny pincher. Survival instincts are sharp. He makes sure that only those who survive until the end of the battle get paid. He makes sure that only those who survive till the end of the battle gets paid. It seems like kind of the opposite of how it should be. Surely, you know, if you want people to fight to the death, you should be like, don't worry, your family will get paid or whatever. I don't know if ogres have families. But yeah, where are the ogre ladies? I don't know. Anyway, probably don't want to get into that. Constantly, he's also demanding and persuasive, constantly yelling at his fellow ogres to fight harder for money. Motivated by personal gain, he is happy to see others fall as it means a bigger share of the reward for himself. In terms of gameplay, support character boosts nearby allies with buffs. While not as strong in melee as other ogres, they can still inflict significant damage. Yeah, there you go. So he's meant to be like a support buff sort of a faction. Bruiser hero. So we finally got our just like melee brawler hero. This is the Bruiser. The Ogre Bruiser often serves as enforcers or second in command within their tribal hierarchy, dedicating much of their time to crushing foes in the name of their tyrant. In return for his combat prowess and brute strength, he enjoys numerous privileges within the tribe. Chief amongst these is freedom to beat any ogres who step out of line, doesn't eat messily enough, or spends too much time with his noblars. Bruisers maintain order and discipline when the tyrant is distracted, providing leadership boosts. His massive size grants him defensive buffs and resilience against charges. Additionally, his bulk allows him to break enemy formations, creating chaos in opposing ranks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting like more, having like bigger blobs of ogre heroes just like rolling around smashing people. Yeah, these guys are pretty cool. Blood vultures. All right, blood vultures, big bird. Agile scavengers sweep across the battlefield, targeting the most vulnerable and exposed units. With their exceptional mobility and flight capability, they provide versatile asset. As the only flying unit in the Ogre roster, they introduce a new dimension of aerial combat. Especially lies in disruption, excelling at engaging missile units in close combat to neutralize their firepower or chasing down routing enemies to prevent them from regrouping. Additionally, they possess a passive ability that enhances their stats the more entities, whether the friendly or enemy, that die around them, making them more formidable as the chaos of battle unfolds. Yeah, I mean, one of the main things about ogres is they don't like getting shot. You know, using, gorges, saber tusks, noblar trappers, stuff that's invisible to kind of get around the back and disrupt their enemy archers, and is pretty good. But now, you know, you got this flying option as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna die easy, right? If they're kind of like really easy to get them, like recruit them wherever. Like if they were like a tier 0 unit or something, like, yeah, I don't know. Then I'd be pretty keen to use them to disrupt archers and stuff. But I assume they're not going to be a tier 0 unit, and you're going to have to build a building to get them and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, carrion. Yeah, that's my first thought as well. So I don't know. I feel like they could be kind of cool to have a couple of them, but yeah, I don't know. See how good they are. I mean, I just feel like in campaign they're gonna die a lot. And, you know, you're not necessarily gonna. I suppose they can take a noblar slot. You know, but yeah, but noblars are like, you know, more replaceable. Yeah. So Thundertusk unit. There it is. Thundertusks are ancient beasts that retreated to the icy peaks of the Mountains of Morn. As the world warmed, imbued with the winds of magic, they became living embodiments of winter's chill. Despite their immense size and ferocity, ambitious ogre tribes have managed to capture and tame them, utilizing their crushing strength, freezing aura, and the ability to unleash blasts of magical ice. Oh, so it's not a... Okay, I thought this was like a catapult thing, but it's not. 2 ogres mount on their backs, provide ranged support with oversized crossbows. Additionally, their ranged attack serves as effective debuff, slowing and weakening forces. Okay, so it's like, yeah, so it's got like an ice laser or something that shoots out of it. This is for ogres, yeah. Yeah, and then there's a couple of ogres mounted on it with crossbows. Yetis. All right, here's the Yetis. Savage beasts from the highest mountain peaks. These creatures will often join the ogres, their ogre allies in raids. They charge ahead of the ogre host, ambushing unsuspecting enemies with fierce claws, crude clubs, and an icy chill. Their unique connection to the cold allows them to breathe freezing air onto their weapons, transforming simple clubs into frostbitten tools of destruction. While this grants them powerful frostbite attacks, I don't know if frostbite is that powerful, is it? It also makes them vulnerable to fire. Armed with dual weapons, they strike swiftly in melee, causing fear as their victims fall frozen beneath them. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if it's actually frostbite or what. I haven't checked that out yet. But yeah, if it's just normal frostbite attacks, I don't know. I got the feeling from the previous information that they were going to actually have some kind of like special debuff, like unique debuff or something, other like beyond just frostbite. But yeah, I haven't checked that out. Sorry, guys. I think it's a battle standard or something. Yeah, maybe it's a battle standard, or maybe that's the ring that focuses their frost laser. I don't know. Freezing aura, unleash blasts of magical ice. Yes, they shoot magical ice, I guess. You'd think they would shoot it out of their mouth, but I don't know. Pigback Riders. Alright. Pigback Riders are a quirky band of Noblar warriors that ride atop their fellow Noblars. Despite their comical appearance, they carry shields that provide decent protection against missile fire. They play a crucial role in strengthening Ogre battle lines, serving as a meat shield for valuable Ogre units. By placing one Noblar atop another, they effectively double the meat shield, making them even more difficult for enemies to dislodge. There you go, hey Jungle Bear. So yeah, they don't actually look like that, they actually ride on top of each other. Golgfag's Maneaters is a unit. So these are like, I guess, more heavily armored Maneaters. Golgfag's Maneaters, also known as Golgfag's Ogres, are a mercenary band from the harsh mountains of the Ogre Kingdoms, led by the infamous Golgfag Maneater. This group of Maneaters has fought in countless battles across many lands, driven by a hunger for wealth, glory, and food. Golgfag's loyalty is for sale to the highest bidder, serving warlords and generals from all nations without prejudice. The Maneaters unit is known for its exceptional strength, surpassing regular ogres. They are particularly effective as anti-infantry, gaining a bonus against smaller units. Their powerful ogre charge ability takes advantage of their natural brute force, making them a formidable presence on the battlefield. Yeah, so I guess they're just like extra elite ogres. Yeah, another unit of like tougher man-eater ogres. Ogre Legacy updates. Okay, so this is like the rework. Similar to what we did for Khorne, we'll update some major legacy updates coming for the Ogre faction as part of update 6.0. Keep in mind, if you already own Ogres in any capacity, you'll receive all these changes completely free of charge. Okay, meat. We noticed that the current meat resource was underutilized and not as integral to the Ogre identity as we would like it to be. To address this, we've increased the amount of meat gained from all sources, allowing it to be used more frequently and in various contexts. Oh, this is the interface that they're about to explain. We've also introduced a new feature called Hunger, which replaces the attrition armies would face when their meat supply runs to 0. The more meat an army possesses, the more abilities and mass it gains, effectively merging the old pre-battle meat purchases into the effects of the Hunger bar. Meat can now be transferred between forces and camps for construction, spent on Office of the Great Moor, or hoarded to empower the army further. So yeah, so they're talking about this bar. So they've got like the blood host bar or whatever it is that the Khorne has. They have the same sort of thing. So the more meat that you have, the more buffs that you get, basically. Also, and yeah, if you don't have enough meat, then you get debuffs, I believe. And what else are we doing? Yeah, so you can transfer. So you can transfer meat from your armies back to your ogre camps. So it's kind of like the Chaos Dwarf mechanic, I guess, sort of, but with slaves instead of meat. But I don't know. But yeah, you can transfer your meat back to your camps, and because your armies will get like heaps of meat as you're going around doing your doing battles and doing your contracts and stuff that gives you hundreds of meat and everything. And then yeah, so then you'll transfer some of that meat back to your camps, and then you use the camps use that meat to build their buildings. So all your buildings have like a meat cost to build. And it's going to show us the and this is the offering to the Great Moors thing. And basically with the offerings to the Great Moor, they're different now. They only last for one turn, but they can go on continuously, but you have to pay the 20 meat like every turn. So it's not like before. It was like you'd pay 20 meat to get whatever you wanted, and then it would last for like 10 turns or whatever. Whereas now it's like you have to pay that every single turn. And the other thing is you don't have to choose one of them. You can have all 4 of them active if you want. So you can have the +2 magic per turn and the Bone to Pot on the Lord. Bone to Pot's like I think it's like a wind magic regeneration ability. And And yeah, you get your plus movement range and so you can get all 4 of these active at once, but that's going to be costing you 80 food per turn, 80 meat per turn, right? Yep. Offerings to the Great Maw. We felt the offerings to the Great Maw weren't as interactive as we like. The existing version required a small meat cost and presented the decision once every 10 turns, made it somewhat forgettable. Now we're enabling an offering to the Great Maw that provides a passive boost that increases the force's meat upkeep rather than a 10-turn effect. These effects can be toggled on or off with a cooldown, allowing multiple offerings to be active at once, or letting players disable an offering if the meat upkeep becomes too difficult to sustain. Tunneling stance? Yeah. Plus 10% campaign movement range and tunneling stance for the army, so they can do underway stance. Pretty crazy. Because you're going to pretty much have that on, like, all the time, right? Hey, Bandcase Sleeper. My puppy is teething. It's 2:32, so no sleep. Thanks for providing some entertainment. No worries, man. Just thought I'd read out these, read out this notes for myself also, but also for you guys. For anyone who can't read or whatever, or would like my, my like 2 cents thrown in on the on this stuff. We felt that the current Ogre camp didn't. Do I miss to read anything? Yeah, we felt that the current Ogre. This is probably the big one that everyone's interested in. We felt that the current Ogre camps didn't fully capture the fantasy of a wandering nomadic Ogre tribes, and their playstyle was too similar to other factions, with only the addition of a static camp. So what's changing? Ogre camps can now move. Ogre camps can now move around the campaign map, although movement is limited and incurs a meat cost. While it's encouraged to place camps strategically to minimize movement, we're no longer locked into one spot. Additionally, Ogre camps no longer rely on horde growth. All buildings now require meat to construct. So it gives you flexibility in prioritizing buildings and reducing idle turns waiting for growth. As previously mentioned, meat can now be transferred to camps from armies. The intended gameplay flow encourages sacking and raiding with armies to gather meat, then sending that back to the Ogre camp so that you can then, use your camp to use the meat in your camp to build buildings, gaining access to those powerful units. Then send upgraded armies out to gather even more meat. Ogre camp lords now feature skill trees. While camps have no upkeep, units cannot be exchanged between camps and other armies. So yeah, so the Ogre camp tyrants are like full characters now with the full like red line, blue line, and everything. You can spec them out with their skills and everything. You can recruit as many troops as you want into your Ogre camp, like that is like the garrison of the camp, and they don't have any upkeep. So you can just build like a super army if you want in there, but you can't put those units out of the camp into your armies like you used to be able to. But yeah, it's sort of cool. Like, whenever you have the time, all camps have 0 upkeep. So as soon as you have the time and the money free, then you can start like adding more elite units to your camp to make its garrison stronger and stronger, which is pretty cool. Was there anything else? And there's no growth, so you just spend meat you can just start upgrading your shit like straight away in your camp. You don't have to worry about any growth or anything, and so if you can pump like millions of meat really early, then you can just start pumping up everything in your camp like as fast as you can. How does this change the Ogre playstyle? We aim to shift the player's focus towards sacking and raising rather than occupying settlements. To support this change, sacking and raising will now be the primary ways to gather meat, essential for maintaining Ogre camps, which we treat as the equivalent of major settlements. Mountain climate settlements are now considered the culture's minor settlements. Mountain climate settlements are now considered the culture's minor settlements, encouraging Ogre kingdoms to occupy them strategically. In contrast, non-mountain settlements are treated as disposable outposts, less critical to occupy, and often better suited for sacking, raising, or even gifting to a mercenary client. So it's interesting when you take over a settlement that is like that you can give to your client, then you can just donate it straight to them, or you could just keep it for yourself and then sell it to somebody for gold. So you kind of got the option there, but I guess since it's an outpost, you're not going to get like as huge of an amount as you might get if it was not an outpost. One of it's like the Wood Elves, the other settlement's going to be like tier 1 or something. Yeah, that's the impression that I'm getting from reading this. So yeah, so basically they're saying that if it's in the mountains, then you can build like a normal up to tier 3 minor settlement, like probably like similar to what they currently have now. But if it's not a mountain region, then it's just going to be like a outpost style thing. If you build a military building, it might still be decent. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember, but I wouldn't be able to talk about it anyway. But yeah, but from reading this, it's yeah, it sounds like it's just going to be like a single thing outpost thing. Ogre big names. We believe Ogre big names are in a good place overall, so we've only made minor changes to how they operate. We've expanded the feature to be used now by all Ogre lords and heroes rather than just by legendary lords, also making it so that multiple can be active at once. Additionally, we've also adjusted the balancing of each name's effects and how they are earned where needed. So yeah, so every Ogre character can get big names now. So that's pretty cool. And you can have more than one. You don't have to pick between just one of the things. Tech tree's been redone. So you got hordes and tribes. And yeah, that's hordes and that's hordes again. Wait up. No. One of them is hordes and one of them is tribes. But they've both got hordes highlighted there. But yeah. Oh no. That's hordes, and that's the other half of hordes when you scroll across. And that's tribes. We have reworked the Ogre technology tree to reflect the changes mentioned above. Tech tree now has been split into two tabs. The tribes tab, which allows you to progress down 2 paths to improve your nomadic camp gameplay or your homebound settled gameplay, and the hordes tab, which will allow you to improve your forces in a variety of interesting ways. So yeah, so there's like a military and there's like a, you know, empire side. Army ability rework. Ogre Kingdoms now generate army ability points in a slightly different way. Previously, points were gained based on the number of enemies killed while routing. This felt overly niche and didn't offer much flexibility. Now, Ogre Kingdoms gain a passive income of army ability points for every enemy entity killed by a charging unit, reinforcing their playstyle as heavy-hitting charge units. Okay. Path of the Butcher. Okay. So this is still in Reworks territory. Now we're talking about Skrag. Also known as the Prophet of the Great Moor, the Gore Harvester, the Moor that walks, is a character with a powerful bond with the Great Moor. To reflect this in his gameplay, we've introduced a feature that grants scaling bonuses based on the number of active offerings to the Moor. These bonuses include reduced Winds of Magic costs, lower camp construction costs, and increased post-battle captives with additional abilities unique to Skrag. This design encourages players to adopt a unique playstyle with Skrag, focusing on large amounts of meat and keeping offerings active. This offers Skrag a very different playstyle to that of Golgfag and Greasus, which focus on being a mercenary and over-tyrant respectively. Yeah, so basically you can have up to 4 offerings to the more active on each lord. So on turn 1, basically Skrag can activate 4 offerings if you've got enough meat. It costs you 80 meat to activate them all, and it costs you that 80 meat every turn. And then, like, if you recruit a second lord on turn 1, then he can have another 80 meat. You can donate another 80 meat to him and have another 4. So you have like 8 things active, and then you get a couple more lords. You know, so yeah, basically all of those, the total number of, like, you know, offerings to the more that you have, they add up to like push your bar up more to give you like better and better rewards for the faction. Tyrant's rewards. So Greasus Goldtooth, the over-tyrant of the Ogre Kingdoms, is renowned for his immense wealth, insatiable greed, using his powers to conquer all he desires. To capture his influence in gameplay, we've introduced a unique feature that provides Greasus with exclusive campaign actions suited to his over-tyrant status. These actions provide powerful effects like blocking enemy movement, disbanding units in enemy armies, ranking up his own units, replenishing action points, dealing attrition damage, and others. Unlike similar features that rely on pooled resources, Greasus' actions only require treasury, reflecting his wealth-driven approach. This feature encourages players to accumulate vast amounts of gold, offering a distinct playstyle that solidifies Greasus as a valuable legendary lord alongside Golgfag and Skrag. So Golgfag still starts off in his same territory, right? So he's going to be able to build buildings. We gave Greasus the changing of the ways, but with gold, sort of. I'd say it's sort of more like we gave Greasus the imperial decrees that Karl Franz got, but with gold. But you know, it's all kind of the same thing, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, bribe I think is the one where you can just take the enemy units. Buyout I think is the one where you can just buy enemy enemy settlements. That one was particularly interesting to me because you could probably like buy if it's 25k always, then you could buy a tier 5 settlement. Oh, actually no, because you could buy a tier 5 settlement, but as soon as you bought it, it would be Ogre settlement, so it would go down to tier 3. But still, you could probably get a tier 3 settlement. And then build like 3 barracks in it, or 2 barracks in a money building or something, and then you know, sell it for more than 25,000. So yeah, there's a cooldown on each of these things. Are they all 5 turns? 15? No, they're different cooldowns, so it might be like a 15 turn. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, potentially you could do some shenanigans with that. At least you could weaken you could weaken factions a lot by taking a tier 5 settlement for 25k. You wouldn't be able to do it on their capital probably, but yeah. What else? Yeah, overtime. So that's the one they can replenish your movement. So you can basically move twice. So it's like the Zeech, one. But yeah, so yeah, basically it's like yeah, Zeech's changing of the ways, or Karl Franz's decrees, but you use gold. But yeah, the other thing I was going to say is because Greasus still starts in the mountains, right? So if Golgfag starts somewhere near Katarin and it's not a mountainous region, or whenever he takes over a settlement, he's going to have one of these like outpost type settlements, right? But with Greasus, he's going to start in the mountains, so his settlement's going to be proper settlements. So he's going to be able to sell them for heaps of cash. So I imagine if you play as Greasus, you'd be able to, you know, quickly accumulate shit tons of cash if you wanted to by conquering and selling settlements. If you could find somebody with enough money to buy them. That's the only problem. Like a lot of these starting settlements, factions aren't going to have that much money. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Be interesting to play Greasus and migrate over near the like when last time I did Greasus, I think we tried to focus on working with the lizardmen to get heaps of cash by selling settlements to them. So you can maybe do a sort of yeah, sort of like a Golgfag style campaign with Greasus, where you migrate over to the lizardmen and then sell heaps of settlements for, you know, tens of thousands of gold to those guys, and then use that money to do all of his crazy stuff. Up next on the agenda is our free LC blog featuring Blood God's Destroyer, Arbal the Undefeated. For more information on Golgfag Maneater, the Mercenary Lord, but watch him in action, stay tuned to our official channels for our second Omens of Destruction gameplay showcase, which is apparently in 2 days, according to me clicking on this teaser picture here. Yeah, 47 hours apparently. I think there might be some other, while we were reading that, I think there might have been some other news that came out. We've got Golgfag's Lord selection screen. And that's that. Pretty cool. Has access to mercenary contracts, instantly travel. Oh yeah, Golgfag can instantly travel to the client's settlement once per mercenary contract. So yeah, that's actually quite cool. So you can yeah, whenever you take a new contract, you can instantly travel to one of their settlements. So you can either sort of travel to one of the settlements at the start of the contract in order to, you know, get closer to your target or whatever, or get closer to one of their enemies. You just teleport to one of their borders, or, you know, after you've sort of like killed all of the enemies, you could use that to teleport to one of their settlements that's closer to where you want to go if you're trying to sort of like migrate, which is pretty cool. +5 melee attack against contract enemies, immune to psychology when fighting a contract enemy, income from post-battle loot +25%, upkeep for man-eaters, reduced. Yeah. The other thing I was going to talk about with that as well is with the camps and stuff. So your camps can move limited, have limited movement now. But like, what was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know. Like, you don't necessarily want to move them all the time because that's going to disrupt your, you know, building up the camp. You know, like if you're moving the camp all the time, then, you know, it's going to slow down you building up the buildings in your camp. So you don't, yeah. So it's like you can move it around, but you don't want to like, yeah, you don't want to like do it too much, I guess. You can't confederate, unable to make alliances with any faction. Yeah, that's right. You can't make alliances with any faction. Where does it say that? Oh yeah, it says that. Oh yeah, cannot make alliances with other factions. Yeah. Moving camp seems to cost a lot of food. Maybe, I don't know. They said something about it costing food. I don't know if it costs a lot of food. But yeah, it's not really about the cost of the food. It's about the opportunity cost of the move. Like, it's about the, if you move the camp, like the turns that the camp is like out of action are turns that you can't be building buildings. Like, because, you know, buildings take, you know, 1 or more turns to build. So you can't be building any buildings while you're moving the camp. So if you keep moving the camp all the time, then you're building, your camp's not going to, because like there's no growth. Like, there's no growth anymore, right? It's just as much as you want to spend food on building buildings, you can build as many buildings as you want. So if you got like thousands of food, you just from turn 1 you can start pumping up every building that you want to build in the camp, you know. So the only limit is how much food you've got, which hopefully you've got unlimited meat, and how much time you've got, which you can't get those turns back, right? So every time you move the camp and you're like spending turns moving the camp, then, you know, you're missing out on turns you could be building up your camp more, you know. So that's the only thing with the camp movement, I guess. That's, you know, a thing. But yeah, him being able to teleport instantly to one of the client settlements once per contract is pretty interesting. And I think like managing that, because like I was saying before, like the contracts are only short period. They only go for like 5 turns, 6 turns, 7 turns, you know, like, so you're going to be like constantly doing new contracts all the time. Every few turns you get a new contract, so you can keep like teleporting Goglfag around. And then if you get like super far away from your camp, like just say you take a job, you put your camp there, you take a job with this guy attacking that guy, and you go over there and you get a new job over here and blah, blah, and you know, you're teleporting and shit, and like in like 15 turns you're like on the other side of the map or something, then you can like disband your camp that's way back over the other fucking wherever and like teleport it back, you know, to where Golgfag is. So that'd be pretty cool. And there was another new thing out. Oh yeah, this is actually Golgfag's actual starting position. So yeah, he starts, let me zoom in a bit more. So he starts just, oh, is that where he starts? Well, yeah, he starts around there, I guess. Starts in front of Azazel? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say anything about more than that, apart from just showing the image. But yeah, he starts in this general vicinity. Starts about there. Let's see if there's any other official news stuff. Northern Kislev's getting pretty crowded, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much the news for Golgfag. I think that's everything now. they kind of did a bit of a staggered, like they dropped the blog and then they dropped those other images a bit later on. But yeah, I think that's all for today. But yeah, I think Golgfag's you know, Golgfag's new mechanic is pretty cool. With him being able to take on these contracts and stuff. It's sort of like like what I was talking about the other day about how sometimes it's like you want like the selection screen says Northern Ostland, not Kislev. Yeah, nice. Where does it say that? Yeah, here it is, Northern Ostland. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say because it's not actually in yeah, it's not actually in Norska, it's actually in Northern Ostland. So the starting position is actually here where my cursor is. Not in the middle of this thing. It's actually like here. So I guess, or maybe it's like the bottom tip of that. It's like he starts in here somewhere. So he doesn't actually start up in Norska. He just actually starts down here in Ostland. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say that because, you know, I'm still on NDA, but yeah, it actually does say it here in the selection screen. Good eyes, there's enough. Very good eyes. Yeah, starts in Northern Ostland. I like the new Khorne faction that's coming. Yeah, the new Khorne faction updates look really cool as well. I think the Ogre updates are like more mind-blowing than the Khorne updates for me, but no, I haven't really gotten still to play around with it in depth, you know, so but yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I was just gonna say with the faction mechanics, so basically, yeah, Goglfag's got this Ogre mercenary mechanic where he gets these different contracts. Greasus has got the new Karl Franz decrees, or, you know, changing of the ways, basically, where he can spend gold to do all sorts of kind of weird and wonderful magical things on the campaign map. That's here. He can buy enemy settlements, he can buy enemy armies out, bribe them, he can get extra movement once every few turns. And Skrag has got this thing. Skrag's got this kind of faction buff thing where basically he gets more buffs the more dedications to the more that he's got going at the same time. So they've all kind of got their three different things. I feel like out of the three of those, Skrag's one is kind of like the least crazy, you know, or the least, like, his one seems the least exciting, I guess. You know, he just gets some buffs based on yeah, so you get bonuses, reduce winds and magic costs, lower the camp construction costs, which would be meat costs, and increase post-battle captives with additional abilities unique to Skrag. This design encourages players to adopt a unique playstyle with Skrag. Excuse me. Yeah, so like his one sort of seems a bit like less exciting than the other two, but it's pretty cool still. Yeah, I think Greasus' one is definitely pretty cool. Being able to do all the different decrees and stuff to like buy enemy settlements and bribe out their armies and give yourself an extra movement every now and again, you know, just like the changing of the ways. But yeah, I was sort of saying how one of the things with this DLC, I feel like this DLC's got like the most proper characters for those three factions. Like for the Ogres, Skrag is kind of like a wizardy sort of ogre with no hands, and Greasus is kind of like a weird fat ogre that can't walk, that's like driven around in a cart, you know, whereas Golgfag is like a proper ogre that just goes around just bashing people and stuff, you know, like he's just like a big badass warrior ogre. Just goes around smashing people, having no respect for anything, shooting people in the face with his giant pistol. So yeah, like I feel like Golgfag's almost like the classic ogre. And also we were talking about like how DLC factions always get like crazy mechanics that totally change their playstyle compared to the normal faction, which is good. But also if you want like that like kind of classic racial experience or whatever, like the DLC factions quite often are weird versions of the faction. They're not like the normal faction, and it's sort of a bit like that with Golgfag, but it's sort of the opposite as well. So it's like if you want like a normal ogre experience, it's kind of weird. It was weird with Golgfag because he can't make alliances, and he's constantly got this thing going on where he's got these different, you know, he's just jumping around being allies with random different factions all the time and stuff, you know. So it's very like kind of weird compared to the normal Total War experience. So if you want more of a like, I feel like they did a good job by giving the Karl Franz stuff to Greasus, because they sort of don't really change the essential ogre faction. They just make Greasus have kind of these extra kind of sugar on top kind of abilities, I feel like, which is kind of cool. So yeah, so I guess Greasus and Skrag still provide that like normal kind of ogre experience, whereas Golgfag's got this weird contracts thing. But on the other hand, in a way, I feel like Greasus's weird contracts thing is kind of even more ogre-y than the other two ogres, you know, like, so it's pretty cool. Like, even though it is, I don't know, like it's a weird special case, I reckon, because the contract system does make Golgfag's system faction like weird and like totally crazy compared to the other factions, but it's very like, it's really ogre-y, you know, like it really feels kind of right for ogre faction, I think. I mean, we'll have to play it more to see how it really feels, but yeah, I don't know, I just thought that was interesting that, yeah, like kind of what we were talking about the other day about the new DLC factions having these like wacky campaign mechanics that kind of changes the whole flavor of the faction. And yeah, Greasus sort of does have that, but it sort of reinforces the flavor of the faction in a way, you know? So yeah, it's kind of cool. Here's the OG ogre, yeah. But yeah, the other thing I was talking about the other day was like how one of my biggest hopes for this DLC was that the reworks would be good, yeah. And so I think we've sort of seen now that like there is some substantial reworking going on with the old factions. Like we were talking about how, yeah, basically whenever a new faction comes out, they get like new crazy super powerful over the top mechanics. All the old factions are just like, fuck them, they're dead now, they're the shit factions that no one wants to play anymore, you know, like. And so like with Karl Franz and Gelt, I think they really got like super good updates, super massive updates. And then I was sort of saying, you know, now post Thrones of Decay, are they still going to keep up that level of like really good updates for the old lords, or are they just going to go back to like not worrying about them? So yeah, so I feel like yeah, I feel like Greasus, yeah, I feel like these are not, I mean, not quite as big as the Karl Franz and Karl Franz and Balthazar Gelt updates, but they're still like, you know, very significant big updates for these older factions with extra mechanics added in and everything. They're like in the same ballpark, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I'd say like Balthazar Gelt's mechanic is like pretty crazy, like, and huge, you know, whereas Karl Franz's one got like, you know, pretty significant stuff added, and a bunch of other tweaks to the faction as well that maybe aren't as like, don't stand out as much as his decrees page, but it was still really important, cool changes, like with his you know, stat lines, bonuses to elect count units and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think they did a good thoughtful update to Karl Franz that everyone appreciated, and they did a whole like conversion basically on Gelt. And yeah, so I feel like these ones are comparable to that, and definitely these reworks are comparable to the Karl Franz reworks, and definitely like many steps above what we would expect from a rework prior to Thrones of Decay. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say I'm really fucking happy about that. Basically, like, that's really cool, and it's both really cool for Skrag and Greasus, and it's also really cool for what this means for the future. You know, like if every time we get a DLC, we can expect like multiple lords to get reworks. That's really great. I've been kind of wishing that we would still be getting reworks for other non-DLC factions as well, because I feel like that was kind of one of the features that we had in Warhammer 2, where you would be constantly having DLC factions, but then also getting reworks for other non-DLC factions at the same time. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to see that with this, but even if we don't, you know, like I think it's like it's reasonable that they want to do the reworks mainly on the factions that they're already working with. You know, like if like this DLC, we're going to see reworks for Khorne, all the Khorne. Well, Skarbrand, there's only one. You know, we're going to see reworks for Greasus and Skrag. We're probably going to see reworks for, you know, Skarsnik, Grimgor, Azag, and Wurzag, or at least you would expect we'll definitely get reworks for Wurzag and maybe Skarsnik, because they're getting new. Like Skarsnik's getting new, well, Greenskin's getting new squigs and stuff, which is kind of like Skarsnik's thing, and Wurzag's getting in. There's getting a new Savage Orc Shaman, and Wurzag's getting a new start position. So you would pretty expect they're going to get reworks. So yeah, so we're basically getting lots of reworks, I guess. And I really, yeah, that's one thing I've been really looking forward to and hoping for these. As these new DLCs come out, that the reworks keep up with that as well, because it's really. Yeah, I think we really, I don't know if everyone felt the same way, but I really felt it with Shadows of Change. Like, not talking about like the disappointment with the actual DLC offering of the Shadows of Change. Like, I didn't really give a shit about it because I didn't really not that much into Zeech and Cathay and stuff. So I wasn't really that. You know, I was very happy when they added all the extra units and stuff like that. But the thing that really bummed me out about Shadows of Change is there was no reworks. There's basically no rework even for Kairos, who is one of the DLC factions. You know, there was very minimal reworks for there was a minimal kind of harmony update for Cathay. You know, there's like no reworks. It was just like but it was that, but that was almost like, it wasn't just like we didn't get the reworks. It was almost like worse, because it was like it felt like it was basically saying, we're doing this DLC, which you have to pay for. You have to pay more for it. We're going to give you less shit for it. And also, we're not going to give you any free DLC reworks. It's like you only get what you pay for. We're going to try and give you less value for the same amount of money, for more money, basically. And we're not going to give you any free DLC reworks, so you can all just fuck off and die, basically. You know, that's kind of how it felt like, right? And that's felt so wrong and bad, and like the opposite to how it used to feel in Warhammer 2, when we'd be constantly getting like, you know, new updates, new DLCs, new free LC updates that we weren't even expecting, you know, factions getting reworked and fixed and fucking all it, you know, it just felt like they were just constantly trying to make the game bigger and better and improving it all the time as much as they could. And it was a really good feeling, you know what I mean? And that feeling just felt like it just got totally punched in the guts with Shadows of Change, and it was fucked. And then, yeah, and with Thrones of Decay, they completely went back the other way. It felt like they had a really good offering with the DLC. All the DLC Lords were super fun. All the free DLC reworks were great. And it was just fucking awesome, you know? And so I was really, yeah, I guess hopeful that with this DLC, they're going to carry on that same feeling that we got from Thrones of Decay, where we're getting, you know, lots of good stuff, lots of free DLC updates, reworks, just... Yeah, like the devs at Creative Assembly, I think a lot of those guys fucking love Warhammer, you know, and they love this game, and they just, you know, are working to make it better and bigger and everything all the time. But yeah, for some reason we went off the rails there for a while, and they weren't showing us that anymore. But now I feel like we're back on track. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. That was just a big rant. But but yeah. But yeah, it seems like the love, CA is showing the love to Warhammer again now. So it's really cool. But yeah, so I was thinking SOC was just a speed bump. Yeah, well, hopefully SOC was just a speed bump, exactly. Yeah, it seems like they lost some direction, but now they got it back. Yeah, I don't know, some went wrong, and now it seems to be fixed a lot more. But yeah, but what I was going to say is, yeah, so I'm really happy that we got so much free LC rework stuff for the older Lords. The only thing that, yeah, I still would love to see is like the old thing that we had in Warhammer 2, where they would actually do updates for non-DLC factions as well. So there would be like something completely, because sometimes, like especially with this DLC, like some people don't like destruction like style factions. Like a few people have commented to me like this DLC won't do well because there's no good factions in it. They're all like bad guys, you know. There's no like Empire or High Elves or Kislev or Cathay or whatever, you know. So yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I just want as much free update stuff as possible. I feel like it powers more sales as well. And yeah, it would be maybe cool if they slid in some sort of, even just not even like a rework, but just like, you know, updated some updated some sort of significant thing that doesn't require a full rework for one of the other factions. Because if it's a faction that you really like even if they just fix one little thing or they just change one little thing that like it can really revitalize that faction for you, you know. And if you're not interested in any of the DLC factions, then yeah, like I don't know, that was just my one little thing that I was thinking with this. If they had something else that like some sort of update, well, when we see the patch notes, I guess we'll see. But if there's any like little free LC updates or anything that give anything cool or extra to any of the kind of other factions that aren't in the DLC, that might kind of help pick up. Because like the more people that start playing the game again when a DLC comes out, the better. Like it just feeds the buzz and makes the community feel more alive and stuff. And so yeah, so I think there is a segment of the community that doesn't want to buy Ogres, Orcs, or Chaos. Like I'm sure there's definitely people that don't like any of those factions. They just aren't attracted to any of those factions. They like, you know, shining knights and magic swords and shit. It's like, you know, those aren't the factions for them. But yeah, the other thing I was going to say as well though is that even if there's no significant updates that I would really count as significant for any other factions other than Ogres, Orcs, and Khorne, they definitely are doing reworks for factions in between DLCs. So, you know, so if I don't know, we'll have to sort of wait and see over time, like what the new system is, you know, and I think it sort of changes all the time. They slightly change direction a little bit whenever, you know, as they get new understanding of what people want and stuff. But yeah, maybe the new system is we don't get any free LC updates for non-DLC factions on a DLC patch. Like 6.0 is the patch that's coming out with the DLC. We're going to get free LC updates for Ogres, Orcs, and Khorne, but we're not going to get any free LC updates for any other factions. But then as soon as that, you know, 6.0 is passed, then once, you know, then there'll be some hot fixes, 6.0.1, 6.0.2, fixing some bugs and shit, you know, and whatever. And then the next time the update team comes in with the next major patch, so 6.1, then you might see, you know, high elves getting a polish up or something, or whatever faction that people think, you know, most needs it. I think they've already mentioned they want to do updates for Norska for the monster hunts, maybe dark elves I heard rumored, Bretonia, vampire counts I heard rumored as well. So maybe if that is the system, it's like, look, when there's DLC time, focus on updates for the DLC factions. When it's not DLC time, then we can go back and do updates for the other factions. You know, if that's the way it is now, then that's okay. That seems reasonable to me. As long as we see regular evidence that basically those old factions are still going back and getting looked at, which they have said that they are intending to do that, then that's good, I reckon. You know, I'm really happy if that keeps happening. All right, well, I think I've ranted on enough about this. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss? A lot of leader factions still need a brush up, like some unique mechanics to them, to be fair. I don't feel like the leaders, when you look at the Giga Shad DLC update, yeah, totally good point, Yukiko. So I think like Karl Franz, you know, is my favorite Empire Lord. So I'm really happy that he got this really good update. So now I can play Karl Franz all the time and he's my favorite guy, right? You know, you could argue that maybe Elspeth's a bit better than him, or you can maybe argue that Gelt's like more powerful than him or whatever. But I'd still argue that Karl Franz with his new updated mechanics offers a like proper AAA experience, you know, Empire experience, you know, comparable with those other two top tier lords, you know. And yeah, I'd like that same treatment for Malekith, you know, Tyrion. I don't know, are there any other lords I care about? Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what you're saying, Yukiko. Like, there's other like lords that should like Malekith should be the big bad, you know, like the ultra boss of the Dark Elves. He should have the coolest mechanics, be the most badass, you know. So yeah, he needs to get the Karl Franz like treatment as well. And I think, and sort of Tyrion as well, I think would be also good if you got like the if you got the Karl Franz treatment. Not to say that they should get the same thing, like they shouldn't necessarily get the same decrees thing that Karl Franz and Greasus got, but yeah, but basically exactly what they did to Greasus, because like Greasus is meant to be like the big boss of the ogres, right? So if they had have just given Golgfag his new faction mechanics and all that, and Greasus just stayed the same as he was before, he would have been like, you know, what, like shit basically, you know. Whereas now Greasus has got a whole new cool thing as well. Yeah, but yeah, it seems like for high elves it would be like, yeah, Tyrion should get like some sort of Karl Franz type of thing maybe, and Tekla should get some sort of like Gelt style update maybe, to make him more like magic-y. Are there mobile camps? There sort of are mobile camps. Yeah, they're not mobile per se, but you can move them. Like they don't move like a normal army, but you can rip them down and put them back up in a different place. Yeah, you can replace them basically, but they don't move normally. They can't like retreat or anything. It's way better than nothing. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I think it would be weird if they could just move around. Then they wouldn't be camps. They'd be just horde armies, right? So I think it's actually cool the way that they've done it. Yeah. A lot. So yeah, I think it's cool the way they've done it conceptually. Like, I think a lot of the a lot of the stuff like since this is all new stuff, like it's gonna need to be balanced. So you know, it might take a few weeks or a few patches or updates or everything for everything to be balanced correctly, you know. Yeah, like the ogres basically, their economy is kind of almost changed now, that it's like based on meat a lot more. But that's sort of like a totally new thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if the meat economy balance is all fucked, you know, and you're either like too rich or too poor all the time or whatever. So you know, that kind of stuff is pretty hard to balance, you know. And so yeah, so I like the concept of everything, but I guess what I'm trying to sort of say, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to say a caveat, I guess, because it's like I could say like, yeah, this is great, and then you guys see it and you'll be like, oh, it doesn't work because, you know, I don't have enough meat, or I've got too much meat, or whatever, and the whole thing's shit. And it's like, yeah, I'm saying like, I don't know whether all that balance stuff is going to be perfect straight away, but that doesn't really matter. Like, you can tweak all those values and stuff really easily. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter much. You know, it's not hard. It's not like stuff that's really difficult. But I think that the stuff they've done to change the way that everything works and everything is pretty good. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, it's like Warhammer's a work in progress. It's a living game. That's one of the things I always say. Like, I love the fact that we get to play this game while it's a work in progress. Like, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I don't want to, this game sucks because it's not finished yet or whatever. Like, it should all be perfect and bug free and all that sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, cool. If you want to wait 10 years to play the game, you can play the bug free perfect version of it. But like, and that's, I totally understand that viewpoint, but like, there's also the other side of it, is that we get to be part of the development of this living thing, you know, and our feedback actually does matter and does change the, like we've seen multiple times now, not me personally, like not me and you like personally, but like as a community, you've seen our feedback change the direction of the game multiple times now. Yeah, so it's cool. Anyway, so yeah, I was just sort of saying like, yeah, I think that the moves they made with this update's good, what we've seen so far. But obviously there probably will be things that'll be, you know, unbalanced or whatever. There'll be things that are stupid that'll people pick up and make meme videos about it and stuff. And like, I guess I'm just saying like, yeah, keep it all in perspective, you know, and like, you don't have to like, yeah, you don't have to like throw the baby out with the bathwater, I guess, if there's like some like little balance issue or something, you know. Just, yeah, I feel like it's, what am I trying to say? I don't know. I feel like I'm getting lost in the weeds here a little bit, but yeah, I guess I'm just trying to say is like, yeah, the big changes are what is very important. Like the little tweaks of the values and making sure that you get the right amount of points when you do the thing or whatever, like that shit can all be changed. Like, don't worry so much about that. But yeah, you might, you know, whenever something newly comes out, there's always going to be, you know, cheeses that you can do and jankiness and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I guess the reason I went on that whole rant was just because I didn't want to be like, oh, Mercy said everything was great, but then I played it and like I didn't have enough meat to build my camp or some shit. You suck, Mercy, or whatever, you know, like. So yeah, I'm just saying yeah, don't like, yeah, you can kind of see whether things are big deals or not. No shield for Goglfag. I know, what the fuck. Yeah, I was excited about that. So there was a video. I can stream it on the 6th. So 2 days from now, I can stream it. Or 3 days, I guess, depending on which. Yeah, I guess 3 days. Yeah. But I can only stream free LC stuff. So yeah, so it's basically, I don't know. I'm sort of torn because I feel like Greasus. I kind of want to stream. What am I trying to say? I kind of want to stream Arbal because I really like the idea of corn and I hope that they're going to be cool and stuff. But then I feel like the Ogres the Ogre update seems like so much fun with the camps being able to move and everything. I'm interested to see if Greasus's new mechanic is good. And yeah, I think like, yeah, Greasus seems like there'll be a lot of cheese available to Greasus with his new, you know, changing the ways mechanic. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of tossing up between Skrag, Greasus, or Arbal. I did a poll yesterday. Actually, maybe we should do another poll because I did a poll yesterday and it was mainly people wanted to see Arbal. I'll do a poll now. Which FLC Lord should I stream first? Skrag. I think I want to play. Yeah, I think I want to play either Arbal, Greasus, leaning, or Skrag, more leaning towards Greasus, or maybe one of the green skins like Skarsnik. I don't know if Skarsnik actually has got a big rework or not though. Like I think Skarsnik will get something of a rework at least, but I don't know if it's going to be as much as like Greasus or even Skrag. So I don't know if it's like, I'm really excited about what Skarsnik's going to get, if anything, but in terms of like a first stream, like I don't know if he's going to get enough to make it worth, like exciting enough to be worth streaming it, you know? Skarsnik is pretty good though, as is now with the Gobbo focus. Blood for the Blood God is good. I would like to see Skrag discounts. Skrag discounts? Oh, like his Winds of Magic cost reduction or whatever. All in one stream. Yeah, well actually that could be a good thing to do. We could just sit here and look through all the different factions and look through all the different stuff that they have. Actually, yeah, maybe that's what we will do actually. Maybe we'll just I'll spend like a good, it'll probably, so that's the thing, it's probably going to end up taking like 2 hours just to look through all the different stuff. Yeah, well, so last time I did like either, one of the options was like all of the Greenskin Lords put together. But like it wasn't that many, there wasn't that many votes for even all the Greenskins put together, there wasn't that many votes. Do you don't have any time limitations for your stream? Oh, you mean turn limitations? No, I don't think so. Because it's just FLC stuff, so it's like you guys have already played all those factions anyway, so. But yeah, I won't have any of the DLC units or anything like that. It's just the rework only. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Yeah, a lot of people seem to be yeah, seems like the same result as last time. It's like all overwhelmingly corn. I feel like looking at what we've seen so far of the reworks, I feel like Greasus, like the Ogre rework seems way more exciting than the corn rework. But yeah, it's sort of weird for me. Like this is like, oh, like if you ask me, like, you look like a corn dude. I am a corn dude, yeah, for sure. Like corn is the faction that I wish was the best. Like, if you asked me, like, before the game came out or whatever, whether I'd rather they invest more time in corn or ogres, I would have said corn for sure. Ogres can just be like, you know, a side quest or whatever. Like, I don't give a shit so much. But now that they're actually in the game, like, I think I like ogre. I don't know. Like, I'm just not talking about the DLC, just talking about how it is currently in live. Like, Khorne and Ogres are, neither of Khorne or Ogres are favorite factions of mine. Even though, like, I love Khorne in the lore, I don't really enjoy, like, Skarbrand's gameplay that much. And, like, when I do play Skarbrand, it's like he's sort of similar to Warriors of Chaos. Like, you know, if I play Skarbrand, it's like, oh, it's a lot of the units are the same as Valkyr, you know. A lot of the vibe is the same as Valkyr and stuff. So I'm not really getting that, you know, fresh new experience or anything. It's kind of like Valkyr, but just I don't like it as much as Valkyr kind of thing, you know. Whereas with Ogres, whenever you play Ogres, like, they're not one of my favorite factions either. But whenever you play Ogres, they're like, this is totally fucking crazy. They're like totally different from any other faction. So I think Ogres have always had that thing. Like, as much as people complain about Ogres being like not very well done or whatever, like, they have always had the thing of being like totally different and fresh. So if you play, like, you know, if you play one Ogres campaign every 20 campaigns or something, which is probably about how often I play them, they're really fun, you know. Whereas, yeah, when you play the monogod factions, because the monogod factions and the Warriors of Chaos factions are already sort of so similar, and they're so similar to each other as well. Like, you know, like within like a 20, if I go on like a 20 campaign cycle, and it's every 20 campaigns I get back and play Ogres once, and I play, you know, Khorne once or whatever. I seem to have a second on hold stream waiting. Oh, do I? Thanks. I'll check it out in a sec, CH. But yeah, God, I was saying now. Yeah, if I play, what do you call it? Like, if I play like 20 campaigns in a row, right? And like, well, the 20th one is Skarbrand, and the 19th one is Golgfag or whatever. No, not Golgfag. You know, Ogres. Then, like, also during that 20 campaigns, at other times I would have played Valkyr, I would have played Archaon twice maybe, and I would have played maybe Kugath and maybe Bestis or something, right? So even though I haven't played Skarbrand, I've played like 4 other factions that have some similarities to Skarbrand's faction, including, you know, Chaos Warriors that have a lot of the same units, and also Valkyr that has like even more of the same units. So it's like, yeah, you don't have that same freshness. Fuck. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like I don't even know why I started that whole topic. I forgot what I was talking about now. Oh yeah, I guess that was just my point, was just saying that Ogres are more fresh, I guess. And I feel like that's even more now. Like, the new one seems even more fresh. So, like the new Ogres with the movable camps and everything. Yeah, I'm just trying to find this situation. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for that. I'll get rid of that so it doesn't confuse the shit out of people. Yeah, thanks, CH. Yeah, it said, well, I set up the stream initially and it said there was an error, it didn't work or something, and then so I then had to do it again, but obviously it actually did work. I just look, cool, can't wait for the DLC. Yeah, me too. But yeah, so I feel, yeah, so overall I think like Arbal's kind of like the Lord that I'm the most excited about, but the Ogre rework I'm pretty excited about, probably more excited about even than Khorne. But the thing is, like, Ogres are always going to be, like, Ogres are never going to be like my main guy, you know what I mean? Like, Karl Franz is probably always going to be my main guy, and along with Karl Franz it'll be like, you know, Malekith, Tyrion, what do you call it? And yeah, and Khorne like could be one of my main factions in terms of how much I love the flavor of the faction, but just the faction mechanics and stuff just don't do it for me, so they're probably never going to be my main guy. So I guess that's where my position is. It's like Khorne's the one that I wish was the best, because then it would be one of my favorites, whereas the Ogres are only ever going to be one of my flavor kind of factions that I play for fun, probably, but they're pretty fun. But yeah, anyway, yeah, cool. All right, well, I think we've beaten the shit out of this blog post now. I might actually, yeah, I was thinking about having a day off today, but Khorne and Ogres can piss off. I'm migrating to Ulthuan with Tyrion. 100% agree with you on Khorne. I love everything about them except for the mechanics. Yeah, I love the Chaos Warriors. I love just seeing like heaps ranks of Chaos Warriors with like chosen with dual axes like charging towards the enemy and stuff. There's a lot of dual axe action in this new DLC, so I'm looking forward to that. I might just play some a bit of Bannerlord or something afterwards. I think I was gonna start a new campaign after we did the blog, but yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe I'll start a new campaign tomorrow or something. Yeah, there'll probably be some new. So tomorrow is the battle embargo, so all the like multiplayer guys and stuff will be releasing like videos about battles and stuff. I don't know if I'll maybe do something like that, something for that as well, but it's not really my thing so much. You know, I'm more waiting for the 6th so I can actually live stream. But yeah, I don't know, I might start a stream tomorrow or something just so we can play some Warhammer, and then we can also chat about, you know, the stuff that's coming out in the battle releases tomorrow. But yeah, today I might just play a little bit of Bannerlord. So yeah, I'm playing the Old Realms, which is like the Warhammer mod for Bannerlord. Just started a new campaign yesterday, playing as a wolf priest of Ulrich. So yeah, if you guys want to continue chatting and hang out over there, you are welcome. But I know that most of you guys are just here for the Warhammer content, and that is totally fine. But yeah, I'm yeah, pretty excited about it all. It's all good stuff. I'm really looking forward to the post-launch period where all you guys have the game as well, and we can just all explore it together and find all the cool strats and stuff in the new content. I'm not going to sleep, Will Paul. I'm going to punt you guys over to a new stream, and we'll play some Bannerlord. Just get it booted up. But yeah, might only play for a shorter period today, but we'll see how we go. Waiting for this to boot up. It's trying to happen. There we go. All right, I'll point you guys over to this new stream.